Part 160. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1591. With Lu Erxian there is laughter, and taking the bus doesn't feel boring anymore. Shenyu and the others were particularly attentive, helping to carry their luggage and deliver Feng Qingxiu, mother and son, and Luo Xiaoxiu to their doorstep. "Come in and have a cup of tea before leaving," Feng Qingxiu said. No, we have to get food for the battalion commander." Several young men felt embarrassed and ran away in a hurry. The speed was so fast that it was obvious that they did not train in vain. Feng Qingxiu became more and more fond of these simple and enthusiastic soldiers in the army. She thought that this was probably the reason why Lu Zhang did not want to leave the army even though he was seriously ill in his previous life. "Xiaoxiu, we're entering the house." "Why?" Luo Xiaoxiu was beautiful and gentle, and she was an old acquaintance. The elderly and children of the Lu family all expressed a warm welcome to her arrival, because Cheng Baoqiu and his wife were very familiar with Mr. Luo Cheng. Tang Ji and Luo Xiaoxiu were very polite and prepared many gifts for the Lu family. There were gifts prepared by Luo Cheng for Cheng Baoqiu and his wife, gifts prepared by Tang Ji for Lu Zhang and his wife, and gifts for Zibao Fuebao and the triplets. None of the gifts were ignored because Zibao stayed in his hometown. "Fu Bao, this is the sweater my mother knitted for you. Do you like the bright red one? This is the scarf Xiaobao bought for you with his pocket money. It is also red, and there are also pastries he got from Grandpa. I'll give you the preserves." If Tang Ji hadn't stopped him, Luo Xiaobao would have followed his sister to the car to see his little wife. Fu Bao was originally very happy when she saw the new clothes and scarves. When she heard that a gangster had given them to her, she was speechless. However, she did not say it outright and handed over the food to everyone. The arrival of Luo Xiaoxiu relieved Cheng Baoqiu and his wife's burden of taking care of the triplets, although the burden was already very light. Feeling the living atmosphere of the Lu family, no one was pointing fingers. The dark clouds hanging over Luo Xiaoxiu's head finally dissipated, a smile appeared on her face, her brows relaxed, making her look even more beautiful. There are suddenly many young and beautiful girls in the Lu family, but they can't hide it from the neighbors. A few days later, when Feng Qingxiu was resting at home, someone came to ask for news. "The daughter of an old friend, come to our place for a few days to play." Feng Qingxiu answered in the same way, "You want to be a matchmaker?" No, the girl is young and doesn't think about lifelong events. She has to wait 2 years before deciding anything. There is only such a girl in the third generation of the Luo family. She is afraid of breaking in the palm of her hand and melting in her mouth. Don't look at Luo Cheng, who keeps teaching Luo Peng to call Fuebao little wife. When it is his granddaughter's turn, then Tang Ji said on the phone that she absolutely didn't want to marry her off, and Feng Qingxiu decided to settle the score with the old man. You don't want to marry your granddaughter, but you teach your grandson to chase blessings. Is this what humans do? Luo Xiaoxiu is a really good girl. She knows that Feng Qingxiu is sometimes too busy to go home to eat, and the food in the hospital cafeteria is less oily and salty than the food at home, so she often cooks and sends it to her. Feng Qingxiu was thinking recently that she would never marry Fu Bao to Luo Peng when he grew up, unless Luo Peng didn't grow crooked and Fu Bao liked him. But it was obvious that Fu Bao hated Luo Peng's behavior very much. He just said he was a little hooligan, but he could introduce Luo Xiaoxiu to his nephew. Maybe they would become a couple by fate. Didn't Luo Cheng say that the favor of saving his life was promised with his body? The Lu family doesn't want his grandson, they want a granddaughter, Feng Qingxiu thought angrily. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1592. Feng Qingxiu likes kind and lovely girls, especially girls who are both beautiful and kind. Introducing it to your own children is called keeping the good news from others. Luo Xiaoxiu didn't know what Feng Qingxiu was thinking. She carried the lunchbox wrapped in a small cotton cover and walked to the door of Feng Qingxiu's office. No one answered the door, but a young nurse passing by said, "Xiaoxiu, come to Feng Qingxiu, doctor? She's not in the office." "I'm delivering food to Aunt, why aren't you here at noon?" Luo Xiaoxiu was worried that the food would go cold. The little nurse said, "There is a very important operation. Dr. Feng and Dr. Hong are both in the operating room. They definitely don't have time to eat. Otherwise, you can put the food in Dr. Feng's office. When Dr. Feng is finished working, I will take it. Let's warm it up in the cafeteria." "That's it? Auntie is working really hard. Dr. Feng's medical skills are excellent. Dr. Feng performs many important surgeries." At first, many people in the hospital were unconvinced and felt that Dr. Feng was not qualified to enjoy the treatment of the regular camp. Now everyone is convinced. When the little nurse spoke, her eyes shone with admiration. Luo Xiaoxiu straightened her chest and felt proud. No wonder her mother asked her to study hard with Aunt Lu. It was indeed the case. She had a good balance between family and career, and managed her interpersonal relationships well. She was always kind to others. It was indeed worthy of her. She wants to study, like Aunt Lu, to be a new era woman with a successful career that makes people admire and have a happy family that makes people envious. God didn't give her a chance for the time being, because Su Ming actually chased her. The military compound is not just for anyone who wants to come in. The interrogation is always very strict. Su Ming opened his mouth to find Luo Xiaoxiu. Shiniu, who was standing guard at the door, immediately frowned. Luo Xiaoxiu often delivers meals to Feng Qingxiu, and will also deliver one to Rong Yuan. Who said Luo Cheng is Grandpa Rong Yuan's old subordinate? Although Grandpa Rong has passed away, the relationship between the two families has not been broken. Moreover, Rong Yuan's grandmother and Luo Xiaoxiu's grandmother are biological sisters. According to the biological relationship, Rong Yuan is Luo Xiaoxiu's cousin. After going back and forth, Shiniu naturally became familiar with Luo Xiaoxiu. They and their brothers all liked this gentle and beautiful girl. They were the kind of people who could only watch from a distance but not play with her. Looking at the dusty Su Ming, Shiniu always felt that he was not a good person, but more like the playboy he often saw. On the surface, they look serious, but privately, they are romantic. They stare at beautiful little girls. In the past few years of serving in the army, I have seen many female art soldiers or medical soldiers who are not familiar with the world, but they are always confused and abandoned by them. The temperament revealed by your words and deeds cannot deceive anyone. Shiniu prides himself on having a pair of piercing eyes. He has participated in the selection of the Special Forces Brigade, which is enough to show how outstanding he is. However, others are better than him, which leads to him being eliminated in the end. He felt that Su Ming was not a good person, so he didn't let him go. "Just wait, I'll go ask." Su Ming said angrily, "Why are you asking? Am I someone with ulterior motives? I'm here to find my partner, not someone else. Don't think I don't know that the army compound is not as strict as you." Object. Nonsense. Feng Qingxiu had already told her neighbors that Luo Xiaoxiu had no partner. A dark light flashed in Shiniu's eyes. "I'm sorry, comrade, our army has this rule. Our army has strict management. Anyone who is not in the passing ranks will be investigated to the end. My plan can't keep up with the changes. I've set my sights on 12,000, but I've only completed 8,000. I'll make up for it tomorrow, I'm very confident. I'll finish the manuscript in the remaining few days, and I'll update it at the end of the month." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiao Bai. Chapter 1593. Logically speaking, Su Ming's origins were unknown and his purpose was suspicious. It was natural for the soldiers on duty to go in and ask before letting him go. However, Su Ming had the arrogant character of the Su family. He thought this was because Shinyu didn't believe him and treated him as an ordinary person. Stopped himself from pursuing Luo Xiaoxiu, and immediately yelled at Shinyu. "Are you doubting me? Do you know who I am?" Su Ming's eyes widened and he raised his voice. Shinyu said seriously, "Comrade, I told you to wait a moment. I will go in and inform you, and I will let you go once your identity is confirmed. The army has never been a place where anyone can enter if they want to. Otherwise, how could it be called an army?" During the quarrel between the two parties, which was Su Ming's quarrel alone, Zibao trotted up to him, carrying a small bundle patched with blue background and white flowers, a canvas satchel and a military kettle, his handsome face flushed red from running. Excuse me," Zibao's voice was high and clear. Shinyu didn't want to argue with Su Ming, so he took advantage of the situation and said, "Who are you looking for, little comrade? I'll go in and report." Zibao was not afraid of Su Ming, who still wanted to argue with Shinyu, and said with a smile, "Uncle, my name is Lu Tianmao. My parents are in the army. Can my grandfather and I go in to find them?" Shinyu was stunned and looked up to see an old man with a pale face wearing a military coat walking from a distance. "Little comrade, who are your parents?" Shinyu said very kindly, but the name Lu Tianmao sounded unfamiliar. Zibao revealed the two deep dimples on his face and moved his sweaty face closer to Shinyu. "Everyone said that seeing my face was like seeing my father and my eldest brother. They seemed to be coaxing me really." Shinyu looked at it carefully for a moment, and Zhang Hong, a soldier on duty with him next to him, said, "Your surname is Lu? Who are you and Lu Zhang, comrades?" "Comrade Lu Zhang," Shinyu was surprised, and suddenly found that the face in front of him looked very similar to Lu Zhang, except that he was a little whiter, a little younger, and at least 30 years younger. He didn't recognize him at first glance. "I remember Comrade Lu's eldest son's name is Zibao." Zibao nodded quickly, "My father is Lu Zhang, my mother is King Xiu, and my nickname is Zibao." He was fast on his feet. Seeing his parents' eagerness, he ran ahead as soon as he got off the bus. Lu's father was a long way behind. He didn't arrive until his grandson finished speaking. He coughed lightly and handed over a letter of introduction and other travel information. "Certificate, several comrades, please inform us and ask someone from Lu Jiang's family to take us in. This is the first time for the grandfather and grandson to come to this unit. Naturally, it is impossible for them to feel like they are in an uninhabited country." Shinyu took the letter of introduction, looked at it for a few times, handed it back with both hands, then put his feet together and saluted a military salute. "Please wait a moment, I will go and report it right away." Zibao responded with a military salute in a decent manner, "Thank you, uncle." Just as Shinyu was about to go in, Su Ming grabbed him. "Why are you leaving? Are you feeling guilty? Let me go in to find Xiaoxiu." "Sorry, comrade, you said you were looking for Comrade Luo Xiaoxiu, but as far as I know, there is no comrade named Luo Xiaoxiu in the army, and there are no family members named Luo Xiaoxiu among the family members in the army compound. Again, our army has army rules. Please wait a moment, I will tell Comrade Lu when I see him." Su Ming's eyes were red, and he wished he could eat Shinyu alive. This look fell into Zibao's eyes, and he stepped forward to interrupt what Su Ming was about to blurt out, urging Shinyu, "Uncle Shinyu, go quickly, I miss you so much, Mom, Dad, and brothers and sisters." Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1594. Okay, they are also the children of cotters, but their polite attitudes are completely different. One is arrogant and domineering, the other is polite. Shenyu sighed as he rushed inside to find Lu Jiang. Lu Jiangzhen was discussing some army work with Chief of Staff Wang, Lu Zhenqiu and other senior generals, especially the training work of the special forces. As soon as it came to an end, he heard the report outside and frowned, "Come in." Panting, Shenyu pushed open the door and came in. "Report to the leader." A child named Lu Tianmao came to the door, saying, "He is your son." "Zibao," Lu Jiang stood up suddenly, "did he come alone?" Shenyu said hurriedly, "No, there is another old comrade." Lu Jiang immediately said to Lu Zhenqiu and others, "Sorry, I'm going out for a while." Chief of Staff Wang smiled and said, "Is your eldest son here?" Everyone knows that Lu Jiang has 5 children, but they have never seen his eldest son living in his hometown. Lu Jiang nodded, "Probably, he came without saying hello. I have to go there." "Not that it should be, but that it definitely is." Lu Jiang hurried to the gate and saw his father and eldest son in the distance. The latter was looking around, caught a glimpse of his father's appearance, and immediately rushed over. "Dad, I miss you so much." Lu Jiang grabbed him and hugged him and spun him around a few times, just like he did when he was a child. "Dad, put me down quickly, I'm an adult now." Zibao felt a little embarrassed. "In my eyes, you are still a child." A smile appeared on Lu Jiang's face that was used to being serious. He put down his son and compared his height with his own. "Good guy, you have grown a lot taller. You are almost as tall as me. Your mother will be very happy to see it." "I just said I'm an adult, right?" The father and son were making out. Father Lu looked at him with a smile but did not come forward. However, Su Ming came over and said, "Army commander." Lu Jiang was a little unhappy at being disturbed and frowned. "Are you?" "No, you are not from our army." He worked hard at the grassroots level and often inspected the training work below. He had met soldiers in almost all positions. Although he would not recognize everyone, he had some impressions of the faces he had seen. Su Ming was in front of him. But he felt very strange, and his dress, temperament, and conversation were not like those of soldiers in the army. Shenyu, who followed him, immediately explained Su Ming's origin and purpose. After talking about Zibao in Lu Jiang's office just now, Lu Jiang ran over here without having time to mention Su Ming. As soon as he heard that Su Ming came to see Luo Xiaoxiu, Lu Jiang knew what was going on. Regarding Luo Xiaoxiu's entanglement with Su Ming, Feng Qingxiu didn't tell anyone except Lu Jiang. Su Ming's behavior was extremely shameless in Lu Jiang's eyes, so he didn't like Su Ming or the Su family. "Are you looking for Luo Xiaoxiu?" Lu Jiang asked. "Yes." "Then you are looking in the wrong place. There is no soldier named Luo Xiaoxiu in our army, and there is no family member named Luo Xiaoxiu among the family members of the army." Lu Jiang's words coincided with Shenyu's words to deal with Su Ming. "Impossible," Su Ming blurted out, "I have inquired carefully. Luo Xiaoxiu took the train from the capital to Wuchen and came to the Wuchen army to find his parents' friends. Although I know who Uncle Luo and Aunt Luo's friends are, but Xiaoxiu must be in the Wuchen army. Commander, you can't stop me from going in to find her." Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1595. After hearing this, Lu Jiang said with a half smile but not a smile, "Are you beating the 2 ducks with a stick?" "That's right." Su Ming puffed up his chest, raised his eyebrows, and looked confident, as if not letting him see Luo Xiaoxiu would be a bad guy. To be fair, Su Ming was good looking, with delicate features and a majestic air. However, no matter how good he looks, he is still a villain who brings trouble to Luo Xiaoxiu. Lu Jiang said calmly, "If you don't have a stick, how can you beat the Mandarin ducks? What you say doesn't make sense. You want to find someone to go elsewhere. You are not allowed to make noise in front of our unit and affect the soldiers standing guard." The implication is to deny the fact that Luo Xiaoxiu is in the Wuchen army. Su Ming suddenly became anxious. Commander of the army, please ask someone to help me find Xiaoxiu, she must be here. You talk about Luo Xiaoxiu, what is your relationship with her? Do you have any rules? The issue of male and female style is very important, don't you know? Lu Zhang frowned, his expression was serious, completely different from the loving father in front of his son. Like, you are not a soldier of our army, you are not a family member of our army. I am Xiu's revolutionary comrade, Su Ming said firmly. Compared to Luo Xiaoxiu's cousin Zhou Haley, Su Ming's mother Luo Mingxiang naturally prefers Luo Xiaoxiu. Luo Mingxiang was also one of Su Junchu's wives, and she was the youngest and most beautiful one. The name Su Ming is Su Junchu's Su. The Ming in her name means that she did not fight against Lu Hongxiu after the founding of the People's Republic of China. The latter became Su Junchu's successor after the founding of the People's Republic of China. The only wife who registered her marriage, she could only live in the capital with her son, and her life was far less prosperous than that of Lu Hongxiu and his son Su Chang. Even so, Luo Mingxiang wanted to return to the upper-class life, and wanted her son to marry a girl from a high-ranking official's family. After choosing from thousands of choices, she chose Aunt Luo Xiaoxiu's niece. Luo Mingxiang's surname is Luo, which actually has nothing to do with Mr. Luo Cheng's family. However, Aunt Luo Xiaoxiu's brother was indeed a senior cadre and a very powerful person in the capital. The most important thing was that Zhou Haley was attracted by Su Ming's pursuit. Su Ming originally liked Zhou Haley, but when he saw Luo Xiaoxiu, he knew that the person he liked was Luo Xiaoxiu. Compared with the sometimes willful Zhou Haley, the gentle Luo Xiaoxiu is Su Ming's ideal wife. Lu Zhang became angry when he heard what Su Ming said that Luo Xiaoxiu was his revolutionary comrade. When he was in the Beizu army, Luo Zonghua fully supported his work. The relationship between the two families has always been very good. He also regarded Luo Xiaoxiu as his junior. Now the younger generation's reputation was ruined by Su Ming and he had to stay away from his parents, but he still kept pestering him. Presumptuous, Lu Jiang's two words calmed Su Ming, who was immersed in the beautiful fantasy of marrying Luo Xiaoxiu. Su Ming's liver and gallbladder trembled, and he suddenly woke up from his fantasy. Army commander. Lu Jiang said coldly, I have never heard that the Luo family is looking for a son-in-law. What do you, a married man, want to do to ruin Luo Xiaoxiu's reputation? It seems that I should call Sushui. I'm not. I've already cancelled my engagement with Zhou Haley. Zhou Haley couldn't hold a finger compared to Luo Xiaoxiu. Compared with his family background, Zhou Haley's father is not as good as Luo Zonghua. Which is more important, Luo Mingxiang abandoned Zhou Haley and chose Luo Xiaoxiu. I believe Su Junchu will not object for the sake of his son's future. Shenyu and others' eyes suddenly widened. This kid kept saying that Luo Xiaoxiu was his revolutionary comrade, but he was actually a married woman. No wonder the army commander who kept his mood and anger rarely showed such anger. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1596. Lu Zhang was very disdainful of Su Ming's taking it for granted. Lu Ran, Lu Zhang shouted. Here, Lu Ran agreed simply and neatly. Lu Zhang took his son's hand and said without even looking at Su Ming, use my car. The gas money for the round trip will be deducted from my salary. I will immediately arrange for someone to take Comrade Su Ming back to the capital and hand it over to Mr. Luo Cheng in person. Comrade's hands. Lu Ran said, yes. Su Ming was shocked, I won't leave. I'm coming to find Luo Xiaoxiu. You have no right to drive me away. I will manage the country's troops, and I can be the master, Lu Zhang said coldly, Our troops are strictly disciplined. It is not a place where anyone can come as they please, nor a place where anyone can disturb them if they want to. After saying that, he picked up the luggage bag that his father had brought and took his eldest son in, ignoring Su Ming's fuss. Arguing with such people is a waste of time. If my mother were here, she would definitely defeat 10 with one effort, Zibao said with a smile. Although there were only a few words, Zibao probably understood the ins and outs, and it was useless to reason with shameless people. Yes, so your mother is the most powerful. Learn from your mother. Lu Zhang glanced at him, touched his hat, then turned to Father Lu and said, Dad, why don't you say hello when you are here? I'll ask someone to pick you up. Father Lu smiled and said, we are both literate and know the way, so we don't need you to pick me up. Zibao said he wanted to give them a surprise, and naturally his grandfather had no objections. This surprise was truly a surprise for the whole family, and the Lu family burst into laughter. Lu Zhang sent them home and was about to leave. Since he didn't see Luo Xiaoxiu, he asked Wang Quilin where she had gone. I went to deliver food to Xiaoxiu and haven't come back yet. I guess Xiaoxiu is undergoing surgery and has no time to eat. Wang Quilin knew Feng Qingxiu's situation better. As long as Luo Xiaoxiu didn't come back on time after delivering food at noon, Feng Qingxiu must be busy with work. Lu Zhang hummed, let Xiaoxiu come back and tell her that Su Ming is here and I arranged for someone to send her away again. Wang Quilin didn't know why, but she still agreed. Lu Zhang returned to the office, frowned and dialed Luo Cheng's number. Luo Xiaoxiu came from the capital, so naturally this call had to be made to Luo Cheng instead of Luo Zonghua, who was stationed in Beizhu. Luo Cheng now pays great attention to healthcare and maintains good physical condition. Lu Zhang, why do you have time to call me now? Are you not busy with work? How is Xiaoxiu doing at your place? Su Ming is here. Lu Jiang's simple words made Luo Cheng furious. What did you say? I said, Su Ming came here. How did Xiu's whereabouts come to us leaked? I heard from Zibao's mother that Comrade Tang Ji explained when he called that Luo Xiaoxiu came here secretly, except for her family members. No one knows. Luo Cheng's face suddenly darkened, and he gritted his teeth and said, someone in the family must have leaked the secret. Lu Zhang nodded, he also doubted it. The Luo family put a lot of effort into letting Luo Xiaoxiu relax. Luo Cheng and Tang Ji would definitely not tell Su Ming about Luo Xiaoxiu's whereabouts. Has Su Ming seen Xiu? Did he scare Xiu? I'm going to find Su Junxia right now. Our Luo family is not afraid of him. Luo Cheng was furious. Su Ming, that little bastard, it seems I can beat him well, not ruthless enough. Lu Zhang said calmly, I didn't let him see Xiaoxiu. I arranged for someone to send him back. Please pay attention. Luo Cheng said hurriedly, thanks, Lu Zhang. Sorry, I bought some rice because of worms at home and I ended up suffering from severe food poisoning. I failed at the hospital at home and then went to the emergency room in the city. I felt like I had died all over again. The feeling was even worse than the food poisoning at this time last year. Oh, back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1597. Feng Qingxiu didn't know about her eldest son's arrival. It was already 2:30 in the afternoon after she finished the operation. This operation was her second operation today, but it was Dr. Hong's first operation. She was exhausted from 2 operations in succession and just wanted to have a good rest. While Feng Qingxiu was washing her hands and dealing with the follow-up matters of the operation, Luo Xiaoxiu heated up the food and brought it over. Auntie, it's time to eat. The hungry Feng Qingxiu did not refuse, picked up the lunch box and started eating. Auntie, do you often work so hard? No, it depends on whether there are patients seeking medical treatment. Feng Qingxiu smiled after listening to Luo Xiaoxiu's words. I would rather put the medicine on the shelf and hope that people in the world are safe. This is a couplet that many pharmacies have. I also hope I can leisurely write and draw in the office every day and continue to study, instead of doing surgeries or seeing patients, but unfortunately I can't do that. Luoxiuxia cupped her chin. I'd rather take the medicine and live in the dust, and hope that everyone in the world is safe. And, this is such a good thing to say. I also want to be a doctor. Do you think it's still too late for me to study medicine? You want to study medicine? Feng Qingxiu raised her head. Yeah, Luoxiuxia nodded quickly. Feng Qingxiu pursed her lips and smiled. I didn't start getting into medicine until I was 18. You are 16 this year. Of course it's not too late to study. It's time for you to go to high school next year, right? Study hard and try to get admitted to a medical university. I want to study with my aunt. Luoxiuxia's attitude was very serious, and I don't know what to do after graduating from high school. At that time, there are three paths she faces. One is to work in the city. With the status of the Luo family, this is easy to do. With a high school education, she can find a good job, but her grandfather has never liked it. Her family relied on the power to work, and she didn't want others to gossip, so the second option was to go to the countryside to join the team, and the third option was to join the army. Most of the children of high-ranking cotters take the first and third paths, not to mention the children of high-ranking cotters. Even people with a certain status will plan for their children in this way. There are very few who go to the mountains and countryside. If there are, then most of them are elders who have lost power. Feng Qingxiu chewed for 20 or 30 times in a row, and finally, with the food in her mouth, she raised her eyebrows and said, "Follow me." Luoxiuxia's eyes sparkled. I think Auntie is so amazing. I once met D'Arguo. He prescribed prescriptions for my grandfather to regulate his body. He told my grandfather that the most proud thing in his life was to have a few good apprentices. Everyone has the talent to study medicine, and they work very hard. Talent combined with hard work is a must to achieve great results. Feng Qingxiu felt that Luoxiuxia was doing it on a whim, and couldn't help but laugh. Studying medicine requires persistence and is not something that can be achieved overnight. Whether it is Chinese medicine or Western medicine, and you have your own interests and talents, all three are indispensable. She first studied medicine for the sake of studying medicine, and then she became interested. After more than 10 years of hard work, she has developed to where she is today. Just as Luoxiuxia was about to say something, she suddenly saw the ajar door being pushed open, and two heads peeking in, one up and down. The one above was wearing a hat, and the one below was wearing a mink hat, but it was Luoxian. Zibao. When did you come? Feng Qingxiu had very good ears and looked over naturally. Seeing her eldest son, Feng Qingxiu was immediately filled with joy. Zibao got in with a smile and was very flexible, followed by Luoxian. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1598. Feng Qingxiu didn't bother to eat, so she immediately stood up and gave her eldest son a hug. You brat, you didn't even say hello when you came. Mom, what you and Dad said are almost exactly the same. If we say hello, is it still a surprise? Zibao rubbed his face against his mother's, not feeling any stranger after being apart for more than half a year. Feng Qingxiu nodded his forehead. Surprise. Did it almost turn into fright? Zibao was stunned. Can't you? Everyone is very surprised. After he finished speaking, he saw the smile on his mother's face. Okay, Mom, please coax me. He was almost fooled. Feng Qingxiu straightened his hat. I'm very happy, Zibao. I thought you wouldn't come. Why? Zibao asked. Because your grandpa Cheng didn't come with you. If Father Lu and Zibao wanted to come, they should have gone with Cheng Baoqiu at that time, but they didn't, so when they saw Cheng Baoqiu, Feng Qingxiu felt a little disappointed but did not express it. Zibao figured it out in an instant. Grandpa Cheng is fine. He came early. Grandpa and I have something to do. We will leave after we finish. Feng Qingxiu didn't ask what was going on, and pulled him to sit down. Seeing the steaming food in the lunch box, Zibao said distressedly, "Mom, why are you eating so late? You eat quickly, and I will accompany you to get off work." Feng Qingxiu did not eat immediately, but poured hot water from her own enamel jar to her two sons. "Mom, eat quickly and leave us alone." After hearing Zibao's caring words, Feng Qingxiu sat down to finish the remaining meals. Xiong would occasionally come to the hospital to play. He couldn't sit still and walked around here and there, walking around the office. Finally he stopped in front of Luo Xiaoxiu and raised his face. "Sister, you're not home." He finally remembered the fact that there was one less person at home after lunch. Luo Xiaoxiu smiled and said, "I'll bring food to your mother." Lu Erxian thought for a while, "Thank you then." Besides, he didn't know how to answer. After Luo Xiaoxiu heard this, she couldn't help but smile, her eyes sparkling. As she looked forward, the tenderness she exuded instantly amazed the young man who was about to raise his hand to knock on the door. After a glance, the young man quickly returned to his usual calmness and raised his hand to knock on the door. The adults and children in the office looked up together. "Who are you?" Feng Qingxiu looked at the young man at the door with some confusion. He was also a soldier. He was about 23 or 4 years old, but he was tall and burly, with long eyebrows and sharp eyes, sharp and profound, full of masculinity. The young man saluted her with a military salute. "Zhan Wuifeng." Zhan Wuifeng is currently the most outstanding one in the Special Forces Brigade. Feng Qingxiu heard it mentioned by Lu Zhang. He was born in poverty, but he is very agile and calm-minded. He has the style of a general. After many selections, he entered the Special Forces Brigade and is very popular with Lu Zhang. Zhang attaches great importance to him, but Feng Qingxiu has never seen him. "Comrade Zhan Wuifeng, what's the matter?" A few comrades were injured, and it wasn't too serious. But the doctors were treating others or performing operations, and there weren't enough doctors left, so Dr. Hong asked me to ask Dr. Feng to come over. Zhan Wuifeng explained himself in a few words. Purpose of coming. Feng Qingxiu immediately put down the chopsticks in her hand. "Let's go." There have been no large-scale wars recently, but there have been many missions. The injuries may have been from missions or from training. Before going out, Feng Qingxiu told Luo Xiaoxiu to be optimistic about Zibao and Erxian. "You take them both home. I don't know when my work will end." "Mom, I'll wait until you finish work and go home together," Zibao said. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1599. Lu Zhang has been in office for more than half a year. Although the training of the special forces has been on the right track, their training is not over yet. That is, the special forces have not fully deployed because there are too many training contents that the special forces need to receive. Feng Qingxiu alone knows these include various physical training, weapon mastering skills, no man's land survival skills, etc. Every special forces soldier must be an all-round talent and at the genius level. Seeing their training content, Feng Qingxiu always felt that she was too behind in learning. Because the special forces are responsible for stealing intelligence and other duties, Lu Zhang is currently preparing to find a few people who are proficient in foreign languages to teach them foreign languages. He has already reported to the higher authorities. I don't know if they have given instructions. Feng Qingxiu knew clearly that Lu Zhang was training this special force in the direction of becoming an international special force in the future. The Special Forces training program was proposed by Lu Zhang. He is currently in charge of the training. Whether he will eventually be directly led by him depends on his ability to enter the highest military organization. However, the soldiers are selected from all armies. The top talents, Zhang Weifeng, were from the Southwest Military Region, not the Wuchen Army. The food of the Special Forces is relatively good, no, it is extremely good, and the nutrition is well balanced, so most of the soldiers are very strong, but a few of them are thin due to physical reasons. The injured soldiers are lying on the hospital bed with several iron towers falling on it. Like on the ground. They were trained by Lu Zhang, so Lu Zhang also watched the doctor bandage their wounds in the ward. Seeing his wife arriving, Lu Zhang stood up and whispered, "One of them is more serious," and went directly to the operating room. However, doctors are currently short-staffed, so you have to come and help. Zhang Weifeng also said, "I'm sorry to trouble you, Dr. Feng." He was relatively cold, and his voice was hard, with a chill in it. "Where is the doctor assigned to you by the army?" Feng Qingxiu asked as she expertly treated a soldier's wounds, large and small, and checked for internal injuries, bone injuries, etc., very carefully. "The doctors assigned to the Special Forces units are the best doctors in the Wuchen Army and belong to an elite team." Lu Zhang answered the question with a helpless expression, "I accidentally fell down and broke my right arm." Feng Qingxiu was stunned and naturally had nothing to say. After quickly handling the injured, Feng Qingxiu accidentally discovered that Zhang Weifeng was carefully observing his method of dressing wounds and setting bones. He recalled some first aid information he had compiled and asked Lu Zhang, "Did they do anything during their training, including first aid skills? If so, go back and give them the information I accumulated to see if they can be used." She has been practicing medicine for more than 10 years, and the information she has accumulated is quite different from what it was 10 years ago, including her own experience records. Lu Zhang had this plan and said with a smile, "In this regard, your information is naturally the best, so thank you very much." Feng Qingxiu rolled her eyes at him. "The country attaches great importance to soldiers learning foreign languages. When I was in school, most of the soldiers were placed in the foreign language department. I guess they also need to learn. All the materials I have learned about foreign languages have been saved. If you use, just let me know and I'll sort it out later. Lu Jiangdao, I just want to tell you something." "What's the matter?" Feng Qingxiu said casually, lowering her head to organize her first aid kit. Lu Zhang held out 2 fingers and said, "The army has assigned you 2 tasks. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife." Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1600. After a meeting and a vote in the army, Feng Qingxiu was directly transferred to the medical department of the Special Forces Brigade the next day. She was not only responsible for the physical health of all the Special Forces soldiers in the Special Forces Brigade, but also responsible for the 2 tasks assigned to her by the army. One task is to explain the structure of the human body and teach first aid skills, and the other task is to teach them foreign languages. First aid skills are essential skills, as are foreign languages, because their future tasks will definitely not be limited to domestic, but international. As a Special Forces soldier, how can he not understand foreign languages? The Special Forces training camp is not in the same place as ordinary soldiers, so the place where Feng Qingxiu works naturally changes accordingly. She became busy immediately, and the salary of more than 100 yuan was not for nothing. She enjoys battalion-level treatment, and naturally also enjoys battalion-level salary. The most unhappy one is probably Zibao. She finally gave her parents a surprise and ran over happily with her grandfather. As a result, her mother was so busy that she left early and came back late every day. Sometimes she even stayed in the dormitory arranged for her and didn't come back. He didn't even have time to hand over the baby he brought home to his mother. "Dad, can't you help Mom?" Zibao said to Lu Zhang. Lu Zhang was squatting in the yard playing with his newly purchased permanent bicycle. The Special Forces camp was relatively remote and far away, and his wife was not high enough to arrange a car ride. He felt sorry for his wife, but unfortunately he would not be able to get a bicycle ticket for a while. As a result, his wife suddenly took out a stack of overseas remittances. Voucher, he directly used the shopping voucher on the overseas remittance voucher to buy a bicycle today. According to the normal procedure, a bicycle requires a bicycle ticket and some industrial coupons. But overseas remittance vouchers are different. The shopping vouchers on the overseas remittance vouchers can buy all goods. Even if there are no friendship stores, department stores, overseas Chinese stores in the army, they will buy things for people who hold overseas remittance vouchers according to the rules of those stores. Lu Zhang put the velvet cover he made from Wanquilin on the bicycle seat and tied an old cotton cushion to the back seat. He said, "Zibao, there are specialties in medicine. You and I are not good at medicine or foreign languages. Thank you for helping your mother. I have asked the higher UPS to transfer someone, and when the time comes, someone will share the burden on your mother's shoulders, and she will feel a little more relaxed." Zibao said unhappily, "In the final analysis, Dad still doesn't like to study. This is the consequence of not studying hard and making progress every day. Mom likes to study, so she is so tired." Father Lu, who was sitting under the eaves basking in the sun and telling stories to the triplets, glanced at his son and thought to himself, "You deserve it." Lu Zhang got on the bicycle, but did not ride directly. Instead, he relied on his long legs and put one foot on the ground to support the bicycle. "Zibao, my eldest son, you stay at home and spend time with your grandparents and younger brothers and sisters. I will pick you up, mother." Zibao also wanted to go, but he knew that only one person could sit on the back seat of the bicycle, so he waved weakly, "Go quickly." Lu Zhang kicked his foot and the bicycle went out like an arrow. The two guards, Lu Ran and Zhao Qing, looked at each other and wanted to follow, but they found that Lu Zhang was riding at a fast pace and had no choice but to turn back. "It's okay. How can he be in any danger in the army?" Father Lu looked at it with caution. The son and daughter-in-law are busy every day, whether they are busy with work or taking care of the children at home, so they should have space to be alone together. Lu Zhang rode all the way to his wife's workplace, and Zhan Wuifeng greeted him. "Dr. Feng is performing an operation, you have to wait a moment. I want to buy a pair of steel stomach. Oh, I threw out the garbage in the afternoon and almost got bitten by a dog." The little girl said that the restaurants or takeaways outside are not clean, so just treat me to a meal. No reaction means it is clean, diarrhea means it is not clean, and food poisoning means it has spoiled. No wonder I had it for a while in the winter before. If she gets diarrhea from takeout, she will never order from those two takeouts again.